There we go.
Success. And before you get rolling, I am going to screen share the statements, because I know sometimes you're talking about that and people are going, what's he talking about? So it might be hard for me to match up what you're saying with the statements, but I'll do my best, and I'm sure people will be kind. Okay, let me try this. Okay, I started with the statement of financial position, because I figure when you get there, that's when things get really meaty.
All right. Well, I'll just start just before that, though. Just stating that at the beginning of the financial. Well, first of all, I should start by saying thank you for inviting me to your AGM this year. It's always a pleasure to present the audited financial statements, and this year they're being presented for the period ending March 31st, 2022. And like I said, before getting to this particular statement, I'd just like to say that at the conclusion of the audit and at the conclusion of performing all the audited or auditing procedures that were required, I was able to provide a clean audit opinion on the audited financial statements. So, and then getting into this statement, the statement of financial position, which is a statement that provides information about the assets, liabilities, and net assets of the organization. I'll just take a couple of minutes just to provide a high-level view or review, I should say, of the financial position as of March 31st. So at that point in time, your cash position was very similar to the prior year. It was $275,000 versus $241,000 the prior year. The temporary investments increased a little bit due to the interest that was earned on the investments during the year. So they increased by about $2,000. The receivable amounts are very comparable to the prior year, and much of that is related to the HST rebate that your organization is entitled to that was subsequently received. Prepaid expenses are very comparable and not very significant. So your total current assets, $1,357,000, up a little bit from the prior year of $1,295,000. The property and equipment, which includes computers and office furniture and that type of thing, increased a little bit from the prior year, but not significantly. And the depreciation was calculated on a consistent basis as prior year. So the net book value of the assets are only $19,113 at the end of the year. And your total assets have increased to $1,376,000 versus $1,314,000 the prior year. On the liability side, your accounts payable and accrued liabilities were a little bit higher than the prior year, up to $65,161 versus $42,013 the prior year. They're all of a current nature, things like accrual for year-end wages and that type of thing. So nothing unusual in that amount. And there was a little bit of deferred contributions, so amounts that were received by the organization that will be used in future periods to help provide programming. So your total of accounts payable and deferred contributions increased to $124,516, up from $62,873. And then there's just a small amount for deferred contributions, an insignificant amount of $6,657. So your total liabilities and unearned revenue of $131,173. Your net assets increased just slightly, up to $1,245,191 from $1,243,235 in the prior year. And you'll notice, we'll discuss why that increased in a moment. But I'll just take a breath right now, and if anyone has a question for me before moving on to the next statement, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have on this particular statement. All righty. And then I'll just move on to page 6 of the package, which is the statement of operations. And there we go. It's coming up on the screen. And the statement of operations just provides a summary of the revenues and expenses of the organization for the period ending March 31st, 2022. And again, comparative figures have been provided. And as you'll see, basically the revenues and expenses are very comparable to the prior year. The revenues are up to $2,529,000 for the year versus $2,250,000. Part of that is due to an increase in the core funding for the year. There was a little bit increase in fees for services. Some additional grants were received during the year. And as you would expect, with the additional funding, wages increased as well. It increased from, and from $1,761,000 wages and benefits, I should say, up to $2,052,000 for the period ending March 31st, 2022. The remainder of the expenses, as you see, are very consistent with the prior years. There weren't any significant changes from the other years. And per my review of those expenses, everything was in line and in order, and with the budget as well. It was in line with what was budgeted for the year. So the total expenses came to $2,527,346, which resulted in a very small surplus for the year of $1,956. So basically at a break-even point for the year. The remainder of the package, they're the two most important statements that you would be, I guess, concerned with. The remainder of the package, there's a little bit of information about the changes in cash flow for the year. This particular statement is the statement of changes in net assets, which basically just shows that your net assets increased by the surplus for the year of $1,956. There are no other changes to the net assets for the year. The following schedule just is the statement of cash flow. And it just provides some information about why the cash position changed from the prior year. And the cash position increased by $35,926. And it just provides some information getting back to the statement of financial position of why certain items like accounts receivable, accounts payable, how it had an impact on the cash position for the year. The remainder of the package, I always say every year, is just a lot of information. There are notes attached to the financial statements. The first couple of pages just explains the accounting policies that have to be utilized in the preparation of the audited financial statements. There have been no changes to the accounting policies that are required to report on audited financial statements for charitable organizations from the prior year. So they're the same and they've been applied consistently with prior years. And the last couple of pages of the notes just provides a little bit more information about some of the numbers I've already discussed. There's a lot of information in those pages, those last 5 pages attached to the audited financial statements. And again, like I say every year too, is if you go away from the meeting and you take some time to review these complete audited financial statements, including the notes attached to the financial statements, and you have some questions about some of the information that's included here, please feel free to contact me either directly or through Julie or Keenan, and they'll forward your questions on to me, and I'd be most happy to answer the questions that you have.
Okay. Well, I can bring those back up if anyone needs them, but for those who may not have been monitoring the chat, I had said that if you had any questions, you could type it there or just say, I have a question, and then we come to you, or you can just gesture madly at the screen. That also works. I'll just take a quick scroll here. And okay, everyone looks happy. And so going once. Going twice. Okay. Well, is that a question, Marianne? Okay, wait. Let's see. You can say something if you like. Or she's just on the move. I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry. This is a lot faster than typing. Just what is the other in revenue? It jumped a lot. I think it was 55,000. I probably say if I looked at it.
It was just the funding that was received for a not co-op, but a secondment.
Oh, okay.
Government. So that was just the funding that you received with regards to this secondment position.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
No problem.
I have to answer before I could put it up on the screen, I think. Good question. Anybody else? See how easy that was? Don't be afraid. Okay. I'll try that going once thing. It's being funny, but it worked. Going once. Going twice. Okay. Then I think we thank you very much, Mr. Holmes, for another great year. And,
you're most welcome.
And the new year starts already, so work is underway on the next accounting year.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.